Hey everyone. It is with a heavy heart that I gotta talk about this. Not even sure where this conversation is going to go. Fuck's sakes. So, one of the things that I am perpetually plagued with is an overabundance of hope and assumption that people are going to act good about things. And the comments of my videos are quickly dashing that tendency. The major reason why is not because they go at the folks that are here right now. Occasionally I get these comments, and they come in basically two flavors. One are from right-leaning douchebags who are still mad that I made the "You'll Never Be a Woman" video. Stay fucking mad. Your comments will never get through. You'll never be able to spread your poison. And now I don't even no one has to look at them.
That's true.
Sorry.
Internet magic is a thing.
I mean, these people will say shit like, "You'll never be a woman, you're just an XY male, blah, blah, blah." And not only are they uneducated and wrong, but they're also just mad, upset that, genuinely speaking, they're becoming the minority. Trans rights is becoming more popular. The world is changing. So, transphobes, get fucked. Those people don't bother me. Not really. Maybe if I'm in a bad mood and I accidentally catch one, but most of the time I'm not even the one seeing them. And again, as I've said previously, the shit in my head is way worse. So fuck off. But here's the thing. When it comes from people who I legitimately want on my side, people that I want to be in the left, helping and being part of things, the reality of the fact is that those ones affect me more than anything. You can probably look in the comments of my videos, and please don't harass these people, but if you look through some of the videos, including the discussion around non-binary people, or the discussion around the whole Levy incident, and other shit like that, you'll occasionally find somebody who will say something about the fact that they'll either throw out a pithy comment, such as, "Oh, so we're just not supposed to critique leftist creators anymore," which is, by its nature, a straw man. And also just stupid, right? It's just not really a particularly good argument. Now, if these people were my clients, I would treat them with a lot more, clarity and direction, but honestly, these people are supposed to be my political allies. I'm not working for them. I'm just out here talking. They don't need to donate to me. They don't need to watch me. But the pithy comments are things like, "We're just not supposed to talk about these things." Well, no one said that. What I'm critiquing is the overall behavior and atmosphere. Do I think that it is an effective strategy for everyone on Twitter to be yelling at a single person? Do I think that will change them? No. And we've seen it again and again. Look at ContraPoints. She jumped off the fucking thing because people were harassing her. Look at Lindsay Ellis. She jumped off the platform too, and now has changed her entire engagement with it. Look at fucking Riley Grace Rashong. Interesting how these are all women. Riley Grace Rashong, yeah, she lost her shit about socialism. She said some fucking cringy shit. But the fact is, do you really think insulting and attacking her is really going to be the way to get her to change her mind? And for the people in the background going, "Well, I didn't assault or attack her." No, but you're another fucking notification, another piece of the mob. You got a problem. Start a channel, talk about those people. Write a fucking think piece, submit it to Medium. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, women who are part of the LGBT community, no less. Yeah, it's amazing how much female content creators get shit. I'm looking forward to be part of that hollow tradition, eventually being canceled for something fucking stupid. Pasta Master, what happened was a few weeks ago, RGR had said that they were uncomfortable, or she said she was uncomfortable with the Eat the Rich narrative. And a lot of tankies and socialists got on her shit. This caused her to fucking, double down. Then she said something, "If you're socialist, unfollow me." A bunch of the creators who were friends with her then unfollowed her. And she put her account on protect for a while, and it was basically just she would not back down. She was posting tons of tweets every hour. It was really rough. Maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but a heavy level of snark, sarcasm, and sass turns your critique into unkindness. Fucking true. That isn't unpopular. That's true. Now, for me, when I use those types of things, like when we were talking about the bullshit alt-right therapy thing, that's intentional. I want to point it out as absurd because it is. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that happen too, Pasta Master. The fact is like, Riley kept doubling down, which is never the way you handle these things, and people were legitimately harassing her. It didn't look good anywhere around, and I think the problem is, as I pointed out with the Demon Mama debate, Riley has a bad habit of, when pushed into a corner, will double down on really, really simplistic takes. It's something that really frustrates me, and partially because I have that tendency too in some circumstances, so I get how hard it is, right? But coming back to this thing, if you look at these comments, a lot of times they're either about the Lindsay Ellis take or the Levy thing, saying that I am, by definition, saying these people should be forgiven for nothing, which is not what I've said, is that they shouldn't be critiqued, which is not what I've said, that these people should not be treated poorly, which is not what I've said. What I've said is these people shouldn't be harassed, doxxed, attacked, or have their personal stuff put out there, or people to go to things like Lindsay Ellis's connection with PBS and try to get her canceled there. I also think there's a very real fallacy here of comparing leftists to dyed-in-the-wool racists. I actually had this argument in the comments. You probably can go find it. The fact of the matter is that I'm really upset with the term of transphobe, racist, not because these aren't usable terms. They absolutely are. But there's a way in which we throw these out with little to no actual use. Like, they don't mean anything, really, because, excuse me, and I don't mean like in the existential sort. I mean in the sense of, if I call every person who ever did a microaggression or said something stupid a transphobe, I wouldn't have friends. I wouldn't have people to connect with. Sometimes we have to give people time to change. Sometimes we need to call them out in more, intimate and direct ways, not outwardly like profaning their that they should change. The fact of the matter is that often this thing that happens in these comments is this idea that I am supposed to, at some level, condemn folks. And honestly, if you're a leftist, my goal is not to condemn you. My goal, if you're a leftist or a liberal, is to understand you. Is to understand where you're coming from and understand where your thoughts are. But I'm also going to come in and make very clear takes, things that I feel very passionate about. One of the ones that's reoccurringly come up, and because I bitch about it on stream all the time, is non-binary people are trans, full stop. I have gotten more comments of people just being asshats or just genuinely trying to good faith interact. I don't want to paint all of these people as negative, but it really does come down to just making a descriptive argument. Like, if we're going to say words that mean something, they're not just weird guttural things that there's no association, there's no signifier or signified. Fine. But if we're going to say they mean something, guess what? Transgender means not cis. That's what trans in that context means. You are not cis. That encompasses everyone. Gender nonconforming people, non-binary people. This is not hard. And the fact is, the pushback I get on this is not huge, but it's substantial enough to be really frustrating to me, because a lot of times when these comments are gone over by my mods or by my partner, they're brought to me because we have a legitimate question about what to do with them. Do we just approve them and let them sit out there? Because some of these are really bad arguments. Like, Zena's actively come to me and said, like, hey, guess what? I read this and it made me want to put a drill in my head in Minecraft.
I need to be real here. If you don't understand the fundamentals about how anti-discrimination laws work, and you are trying to have this argument with us about how a legal definition that is going to be used in legal and medical context functions. Like, what are you doing here? Like, I don't want to, give a platform to somebody who fundamentally doesn't understand that, no, we need to put enumerations in our anti-discrimination laws. We have known this about all sorts of different forms of anti-discrimination for fucking decades. Okay?
So
there's a reason we fight for this.
So the context is one of the comments that got sent in, and I don't remember if I approved the last one. I think I just started deleting them after they started going nonsensical, is the simple fact is this. If you say some dumb shit like, we shouldn't have discrimination laws against trans people, we should have just anti-discrimination laws, which then begs the question, if you've actually ever talked to a lawyer, against whom? If a group of people isn't a recognized legal entity, that is, you haven't identified them, like men, women, cisgender, these categories have meaning. And if you're trying to in some way say that we're just supposed to say, be anti-discriminatory, you fundamentally don't understand how law works. Now, granted, I don't either. I'm not a lawyer. Neither of us are. But based on the lawyers we've talked to, and I do have a number of friends that are, the simple fact is, words matter. When I joke about these motherfuckers debating the definition of and, guess what? That's kind of not that far from the truth.
And I have at least done, research stuff on this and been part of this activism with groups. I have legitimately talked to lawmakers in the past going, hey, we need these things, right? There's a reason that when we're looking at, school anti-discrimination laws, you need sexual orientation and gender identity/expression on there. You have to have both. Because any of the random ass nuance, or any of the things that we know, should generally just be protected, aren't. And unfortunately, officials do use, the slight difference here to discriminate and not give somebody the care or the rights that they need, right? Bathrooms, okay? We all know it's a big one in schools right now. We have to take care of how we legislate this.
Yeah, if there wasn't the Civil Rights Act saying that you couldn't do this on the basis of race, again, separate but equal, but who's separate but not equal? That's the problem. People don't want to think in concrete terms because they feel uncomfortable with hard definitions. And again, I still think that has to do with internalized transphobia because no one has been able to give me an argument as of yet. No one. And I try to engage with you motherfuckers in the comments. This is not like I just ignore you, though that might be changing soon because I don't have the time. But the reality of the situation is it's okay if you disagree with me. I don't mind people disagreeing with me. What I mind is people calling them my allies when they say things that are demonstrably untrue. The simple fact of the matter is concrete definitions are the way the world works. And as much as we're uncomfortable with them, and for good reason, because hierarchies by definition use them as ways to hurt us. This isn't a hierarchical thing. I'm not above you. I'm not the fucking president. I'm not like the princess of trans people. The simple fact is I'm just a clinician and a trans woman and a non-binary trans woman, mind you, who lives with a non-binary partner who's trans mask and a kid who's slightly trans mask. I feel like I've got a pretty good leg to stand on in this discussion because I had to go for the last 6 years learning how to be more okay with the idea of people being non-binary. I had to then deal with my own internalized sort of Enby phobia / transphobia, which inevitably got enough for me to deal with my shit. And then this is how it is. Concrete definitions are needed because that's how laws work. To say just something stupid as fuck that, oh, we can just make anti-discrimination laws, for whom? I almost want to, if I could, during stream, play you guys clips to add humor, what I would do is the fucking clip of H-Bomber guy busting through a wall and being like, just one problem, Ben, for whom? Aquaman? That's literally what I would do. Because the question is if you're just vaguely throwing shit out, guess what? That's meaningless garbage.
Is there a logical fallacy for just denying how the world works? There's a system in place and you're like, nah, that's not real.
Can I be honest with you? Yeah, right? Here's what I want. I am a person that hates restriction. ADHD, if people are like, I need to get by, I get fucking triggered. Like, let me be very clear. Also, by the way, yes, I would love to work with Legal Eagle and talk sometime. That would be pog as fuck. Also, H-Bomber guy is amazing, and I would love to talk with him sometime. His support of a trans charity stream was just brilliant, and I think he's a wonderful human being. Anyway, the point being is this. I want a world where gender is play. And I know right-leaning people are going to think I'm some deluded bitch, but guess what? They do anyway, so why the fuck do I care what those people think? The reality of the situation is that I want a world where gender is play, where it is something that we can all explore together, we can go through together, we can engage with together, we can see what does it mean for you. This is actually why I'm not...
The healthy, positive, like, curiosity kind of thing.
Yeah. This is actually one of the reasons why I don't have a huge issue with xenogenders and, like, other types of esoteric sort of conversations that happen on Tumblr. I'm actually trying to look up the term Mogwai right now. A Mogai. I can never pronounce it. M-O-G-A-I. It's a acronym that essentially means, what is it? Marginalized orientations, genders, and intersex people.
Something like that.
And I saw one person in the comments make the argument that some people think that will include cis women, which vaguely saying I'm not 100% against that. I think feminism really blends well with, like, you know, fucking queer theory, whatever. But the thing here is that, like, this is why I want to move away from certain terms. I don't like the acronym because I think there's a hierarchy built into it. Seriously, I do. If you look at the level to which people have been accepted, first lesbians, then gay men, bisexuals, kinda. That's the problem, is that there's a way in which people sort of organize as a group unified until suddenly their particular needs are more important, and then they forget everybody else.
Going back to that whole legal thing, no, this shit has absolutely happened a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk. You want me to go off on about how sexual orientation will make it into non-discrimination policies but not gender identity? Yeah, that absolutely happens.
Yeah. The thing here is that we have to be really clear about our language and terms. That's just important. And I know it sounds like I'm bitching about this stuff. I always sound like I'm bitching about this stuff. I want to move on from this argument. I really do. But I just keep getting more and more stupid fucking comments. And I'm not trying to be mean to these people. I'm sure they're very lovely people with very lovely lives. But I really get frustrated with this because it feels like I'm, like, again, if I could show pictures, it would literally be Will Ferrell yelling, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like, I don't see what benefit this has. I want to move on to new ideas. I want gender to be as play. I want people to be able to explore sexuality in a way where there's no judgment. And obviously someone's going to strawman me and say a whole bunch of horrible shit like bestiality and whatnot in there. That's not the case. Simple as fact. What we're talking about is proper and appropriate sexual development for people of the appropriate age for that level of development. And we're talking about taking away the restrictions that hinder people from that exploration without putting marginalized people in that situation in some kind of harm's way.
He won.
The benefit is the people cyberbullying people to feel validated in their emotions at the cost of an actual movement. Abso-fucking-lutely, Thanagor. There's no real benefit. Yeah, and that's the problem is this is what I honestly think it is. And I know people don't like the WS word. We're trying to come up with a better one. Eventually, I'm going to talk to some other YouTubers about this. But let me be very, very clear about this. I think this is vindictiveness talking. I know everybody throws out this idea of jealousy or it's envy or it's just people being immature. I'm going to say what it is. My observations of Twitter mobs, my observations of people in my comments, it always comes back to the same feeling for me. It feels like people are going to use any justification they can to feel vindicated, to have outrage, because outrage feels good, especially when you feel like you're morally correct. The zealot never knows they're wrong. And the problem is that when the right sees this zealotry, people who are emotionally and immaturely lashing out or considering people of color a fucking monolith about any given topic, what essentially happens is they use that against us. They try to co-opt our fucking language. I don't like it. And I fear it actively. Because I know I haven't been a perfect angel. And to be honest, some of this language around no matter what good a person has done, they're always bad forever, sounds a lot like the shit the right does when every time a black man is shot, he was no angel. It's the same weird, just subtle justification. Well, Lindsay Ellis is a racist, so we can treat her this way. No. She's done some microaggressive shit. She's done some shit that was really weird. She's apologized for all of it. But is she a racist? Like in the essentialized general term, like, is she a racist? Because if she's under that definition, a lot of fucking people are. Now, does she perpetuate certain type of microaggressions and certain types of systemic racism? Possibly, and probably in the past, yes. But probably not more so than many people. And even if you want to look at some of the things she's done, the amount of harm is questionable. The offense is probably real. This idea that, like, we have the right to just lash out at people is really weird to me. I feel comfortable talking about other YouTubers because I'm a YouTuber. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. Saying I liked ContraPoints was something I had to be in the closet about on trans Twitter for fear that I was going to get shit for it. Let's talk about the number of ways that's fucked. I'm sorry, guys. Like, this stuff really bugs me. And I'm just in the comments from now on. Again, don't harass anyone. Don't attack anyone. Don't hurt anyone. Please, this is a channel that's trying to promote mental health. But if you guys want to argue this stuff with them, do it in the comments because I'm not doing it anymore. I'll approve the comments if I think that they're reasonable. And if I think that they're just nonsense, I'm just not. Right? Because, like, for my own mental health, I can't keep engaging with this stuff in a way where it sort of puts me in a place where I have to keep going against the people I want to work with. And I can never tell who's on the other side of that argument. Is this a person that's actually educated, who knows what they're talking about, who's done this work, or am I arguing with a 15-year-old?
Or somebody who's bad faith but pretending to be on our side, right? You don't really know the difference.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, Pentella. I kind of like Ellis's speech about not being able to shame the shameless. I think that's true. I actually think one of the major measures of where a person's, like, personal, like, morals and ethics are is directly in the idea of, can they be shamed? If you call me or Lindsay Ellis or anyone else a racist and we react poorly to it, probably not that much of a racist. We might do stupid shit. There might be a spicy joke. There could be a microaggression that we're unaware of. But to call me a dyed-in-the-wool racist for that seems really fucked. One of the things that happened in those comments that I want to bring up is that I really dislike having to defend other YouTube creators. I hate it, actually, because I think that their work should stand on its own. But a lot of times what happens is I see people talk about them in incredibly simplistic ways. The Lindsay Ellis thing was an example. Contra's an example. And I'm not saying these people are perfect. I'm not saying they haven't done shit. The one that was currently happening in the comments, if you want to go look, Fosh. A lot of people hate Fosh. I happen to like him. I don't agree with everything he says. His ideas about neopronouns are silly. And to be honest, there's some other takes that I need to kind of think about. But I genuinely think he has his heart in the right place. Do I think he's done some dumb shit? Sure. Has he had potentially prejudiced behaviors in the past? Yeah. Though, as someone who's watched him, he's apologized. He's explained these situations again and again and again. He even went back on some of his previous videos, his older videos, and directly pointed out why he was wrong. Isn't that what we want? Isn't that how we want people to change? Isn't that what we want to see as people show the demonstration of knowing what the problem is and changing it and showing the knowledge of what that is? This is so frustrating for me because I don't want to have to defend other YouTube creators. But when somebody throws out these nonsensical things, I feel like as a mental health YouTuber that I need to, because my liking of them when this happens comes into question. One of the big issues, and we've talked about this before, is that there's an essentialization that takes place. You're either a racist or you're not. You're either a transphobe or you're not. And there's this idea that to some degree, this is just how this is. And it's not. There are these magnitudes and nuances and gradients within all of these things. If you go with actual understandings of this stuff, the simple fact of the matter is we're all racist.
Yeah, if you grow up anywhere in America,
have you ever interacted with trans women? We're some of the most fucking transphobic people on the planet. These things are hard to fucking shake because they're goddamn indoctrination and programming.
Yeah, anywhere you grow up, you never really know where somebody's coming from. It takes real time and effort to pick apart this stuff.
Yeah.
You need help from other people to pick apart this stuff, and hopefully that help isn't coming in the form of harassment.
Let me be very clear. If I platform, I don't even really like that term because I don't really think I'm like a 500 sub YouTuber. The idea that I platform shit is nonsensical. The simple fact is this, if you don't like the people that I platform, that's fine. But what that should prompt is, if you like my work, well, don't watch them, come see me. But in reality, what that should prompt is this. Why does Jess like them? I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying you have to change a goddamn thing. But ask. Why? The reason I like Vosh is because I think his arguments are strong. I've seen him crush neo-Nazis. I've seen him be incredibly supportive to trans people. And looking into the past of some of the things he's said and done, I don't in any way condone those things. But I also understand from multiple directions the context around them. And it doesn't mean I necessarily just justify them. But I think context is important. And I think in the fact that he does demonstrable good. In fact, one of the reasons I think a lot of people give him shit is not only because of his dumbass behavior previously, but let's be very clear. He's actually doing stuff. If anyone's looked at his channel recently, he was part of an LGBT town hall he was invited there by a trans man, I believe, who was talking about the the queer or LGBT museum that was being built. I think it was in North Virginia, but don't quote me. And then was part of a discussion with I think it was the CEO or one of the major guys behind Kickstarter and a bunch of other people discussing what will work in the future.
Yeah, that was a super interesting conversation. I don't know, the Fosh is actually not just holed up in his room, but is actually engaging with the rest of the world. Is actually a thing happening.
Let me read some things.
We also gotta let the dog out.
Yeah, I'll do it in just a second. I really like that Vosh is able to recognize he used to be a creep towards someone. Yeah, he's talked about that significantly and directly talked about how it was problematic in at least 3 different streams. Personally feel like social media tends to amplify these behaviors. True. I think it leads to a lot of the black and white thinking seasonal spirit. Also, internal shit is really strong. Those virulent misogynists are often other women. Yeah, there was a really good podcast for a while. I stopped watching because they kept saying lib shit, but I think the nicer name is Sorry About Last Night, but the actual name is Guys We Fucked. And I really liked their actual discussion around this because they actually pushed for this notion of women being the most aggressively problematic people towards other women. There's a way that we tear each other down for men's approval or benefit or whatnot. And I think that's a really good discussion. As far as this, Lindsay Ryan said, it's a lifelong process to identify and change all kinds of behavior. True. I like his way of taking accountability personally. He used to be creepy. Yeah, I wholly agree. I think one of the issues leftists have with him is that he's an entertainer in a lot of ways. A lot of leftists, I feel like the only way to dunk on other people. Well, that's the thing is we're all entertainers. You guys wouldn't watch me if I wasn't entertaining. I don't know why you think I'm entertaining. I imagine it's just my sparkling personality. But let's be super clear. You watch me. I have to be doing something. Personally, I like guys with deep voices, and I like somebody who acts authoritatively. Maybe I'm telling too much about myself. But the fact is, I'm going to be super clear here. I think it's really important for us to look at people in a very nuanced way. That's not to say that we don't hold them accountable. That's not to say that we shouldn't call them out for things they do, but how we call them out. What is the most effective and a good way to call them out? Because if you think it's Twitter, you're a fucking idiot. My belief is that people who feel powerless, people who are a part of marginalized communities, often can be just as susceptible as anyone else to wanting to wield power. And often, in the power of a mob, where everyone feels morally justified to be as awful as they want, it's very, very hard to go against that tide. Everything's justified, no matter how bad it gets. I think there's a way that we reenact power structures in the left. I think that the LGBT acronym can do this. Not always, but it can. And I think we have to remember that, as Seasonal Spirit just said, marginalized people aren't exempt from doing wrong. The fact is, there are marginalized people who are authoritarians. It's not just the Republican meme of they're trying to authoritarianly make me use their pronouns, or I'm going to go to imaginary Canadian pronoun jail. Bye, Katie. Love you. But do you guys understand this? Like, I'm asking for a deeper level of understanding on this stuff. I don't feel like this is... I'm wrong on this. I don't. I want us to be better. I want us to win. Death, like people within in-groups, can be terrible, and I think it's a huge blind spot. I agree, Brittany. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened, do you remember back in, it was like a month or two ago, where Vosh had the conversation with a girl that was a former white supremacist? It was a really fascinating conversation. I follow that girl on Twitter. She's adorable. They are adorable. This person was basically a white supremacist. They got out, thanks to Vosh, mind you. Someone brought Vosh's videos to them and pulled them out. This is now a non-binary person. It's weird how if you actually are willing to engage with these people, sometimes it leads to positive outcomes. Now, I'm not a debater. Probably not going to engage with that. I'd be willing to do like large debates. Be fine. Maybe that could be cool. But like one-on-ones, I just don't feel comfortable with. I don't like the way the deck is stacked.
Like discussions are probably.
Oh, well, dude, fucking like panel discussions. If people want to have me on, please, I will talk all fucking day. Yeah, Brittany, right? Imagine being productive. Miss Pasta Master said, yeah, I agree with a lot of the arguments you're making. I didn't comment much because I was washing dishes. That's fair. The dishes are more important. I just want to say this, guys, is like, if you really don't like the stuff that I have to say, tell me why. Give me an understanding. If I still can't come to where you are, you don't have to watch me. This is optional. It really is. You don't have to even give a fuck what I say. I'm a trans woman in the Midwest. Why the fuck do you care what I have to say? Because I have a platform? 500 people is not is a fucking platform. If I get bigger, there might be an argument there, but honestly, again, I want to look at people with nuance. I'd like to be able to deal with right-leaning people, but, they want me dead or, I'd call it degenerate. No, the left has to be better about this. Our ethics have to be consistent. We have to understand that humans are a procedure. They're a process. They're a way in which people move forward and change and shift and move into deeper things. I am so done with black and white moralism towards people that should be my allies because I want unification. And I don't have to be friends with all these people. There are people on the left that I just don't like. Doesn't mean I won't work with them. And as for all the people are mentioning, I'd love to talk to these people. I'd love to talk to Demon Mama. I actually was interacting with her through DMs, but I think we lost track. I bug her nicely, no harassment. I do love her. I think she's great. She's spicy as shit. Sometimes I'm even uncomfortable, and I think that's awesome. I like being uncomfortable. Legal Eagle would be a great conversation. I think these things matter. I think we need to be able to push back on this. So to all the people who want to watch the comments and wants us to, throw out these same 5 or 6 arguments that non-binary people don't have to be trans. Okay. That can be true in your community. Go away. We want a unified whole, and we understand that concrete definitions are useful in creating protection. People are not perfect. When someone's canceled, I want to understand why, and I want to understand what they did. And I want to understand the context in which it happened. An example of this, by the way, is that, let's be super clear, a bunch of people threw out that Contra was wrong about her canceling because James Charles turned out to be kind of scuzzy. Spoiler, none of her argument was bad based on the information at the time, but no one wants to take those views. No one wants to look at the time period. They just want to post hoc justify the fact that they felt right. I've had people directly tell me that they felt betrayed and hurt by some leftist creator or whoever based on them doing a single thing. And almost every time, do you know what I notice? It's because they didn't understand it, or they misunderstood it, or they took someone else's view on it. This is why I don't like some of the ways the left deals with each other. Because I think often people are pushed and indoctrinated into an incredibly rigid mind state, and I don't think it's okay. It keeps us from being able to get not only improve within our own ranks, but also pull people over. So yeah, I'll leave that here. I've bitched about this enough. We're way over time. But I need you guys to understand this. I am done engaging with those comments. If your first thought is, well, I guess we just can't critique them, or you're wrong about the Enby stuff, save your typing. I'll approve your comments as long as they're well written, or at least to some degree make sense. But I'm not engaging with you anymore. I'm in her Discord too, I actually did some DMs with her. I mentioned this. Some people have a defense mechanism in their minds, and their minds just refuse to let them understand those arguments because it damages their ego. Yeah. Again, I'm a Buddhist. There's no such thing as a permanent self. Pass it on.
So maybe after these things that I can't remember the name.
The distorted thinkings?
Distorted thinkings, we can go with creative adjustments.
Yeah. One of my teachers, a lovely lady by the name of Cherie, she would talk about how a lot of distorted thinking and a lot of different behaviors and programs were really just creative adjustments, ways in which kids had to
learn strategies to cope
and survive.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave this here. Do you have anything else you want to say on it?
Nope, that's about it.
I just want to say that, for those people that hang in here, I love you guys, and I do want to hear people out, and I do want to have these conversations, but when they take the same format over and over and over and over again, I can't do it. I literally can't. Yes, yeah, wait, do you have the way to make shirts? I will.
Wait, what?
Seasonal Spirit said, can I make There's No Such Thing as a Permanent Self, pass it on as a shirt design? Seasonal Spirit, I won't stop you, and I will cut you in on the merch numbers.
I have a silhouette.
Work.
I have a craft cutter.
Seasonal Spirit, message Zena. They have a silhouette, you can work together.
Yeah, I can. Actually, it's funny because my younger brother literally was like, I want to make shirts. And I was like,
Can we please have the trans Buddhist hybrid discussion. Can I have real conversations instead of people whining? That'd be neat. We need the prestige one first. So what I'll say to you at the end of this video is this. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me down below why I'm wrong.
If you're in our Discord, send Zena a message about designs.
If you want to help us out, though, you can send it to streamlabs.com/transgirltherapist/tip, or you can become a patron. Start as low for $3. That gives you access to any of the VODs early when they come up, usually on a Monday, or access to future live streams, things like that. There's no reason not to. $3 is easy. We really appreciate all of you. And I'm simply going to say this really, really clearly. I want to grow. So I'm asking the people who agree with me or the people that disagree with me to share the videos. If you want to prove your point, share the videos. Make a conversation about it. I know what I want, and I know what my community thinks. Doesn't mean they agree with me on everything, but probably means that they're more open to these ideas. But if you want, why don't you give me the platform you claim I have? I dare ya. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.